Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Hanging Out with Temi. I've got Professor Mimi with me today. Very consistent. And after all day, lecturing all day, driving, wherever, I should be here. But thank you. Good to see you, Professor Mimi. And welcome on the show, everyone. And thank you for joining us today. Yeah.
Thank you,
The,
thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Simple one,
right.
good day. Really nice to catch up with everybody, and I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful start to the week. We have, end of Monday, and we are still standing. That means it's a good start.
That's very, comprehensive. Everything is thank you, because really people watch us from all over the world, not just Australia. There's Canada, there's America. So wherever you are, that's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, how are you? I mean, like your weekend. I heard a little bit about your weekend. Always on the sports ground or some sports somewhere or something.
Well, we're a
Yeah.
sporty family to begin with, and musical, etc. Everybody in this family plays an instrument except me, and I do
Oh,
other things. So, absolutely. So then it was over the weekend we had confirmation, but then also we had the Edith Piaf show with Natalie Lemit from France, and it was an absolute winner at Crown, at the Palms in Crown,
oh
and
yeah.
uh, and it was literally an every incarnation of Edith Piaf. Beautiful.
Wow. I attended one show there actually. It was the olden day music. They impersonify all the
Yeah,
musicians. Is it the same thing?
it was
At the
this lady.
ah but
She sold over a million tickets worldwide. So, and the band was just beautiful from France.
I know. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
so good. Very good. Yeah, I had a good
So
week.
what did you do?
Yesterday actually I went to the foodie. Believe it or
Really?
not.
That's good.
Yes,
Well done.
I went to Super Roll in Altona. We
Yeah.
sponsored the club, and yesterday they were doing some final, what do you call it, competition or something like that. So
Yeah.
we went there. It was good. People were just drinking away. Barbecue was going. Beautiful, beautiful group of people there. Yeah. So I
That's
was
nice.
there. We're at church, and and I'm building my store, my shop. um I decide to actually focus more on my shop these days because I've got some people that said, I don't know anything about Africa, and I really don't know about Africa. Personally said to me about the food, and some of them are now marrying people from Africa, literal marriage. So I'm like, voila, 2 years ago you're telling me I don't know your food, I don't know, now you're marrying. How is this possible? So you need to come to me and let me teach you how this we do our food, and even our our girls, they're buying all the galas and all that. So I'm like, let me start pitching to these people. Don't worry about it. You never know where you're going to find yourself, really. We're so intermingled right now
Yeah.
that you don't know where you're going to go. Your son can marry, your daughter can marry, who knows? Yeah, so, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy that I was able to invest time in my business this week. Mm. Yeah, that is it for this week for me. For last week, this week is looking good as well. But today, we're going to be talking about parenting and how our temperament could shape the way our children turn out. The reason why this is coming to light now is that we've always thought I've always believed that the children, they pick few things, maybe anger, maybe quietness, maybe reaction to issues. But what I'm getting to hear these days, particularly
Yeah.
with our boys,
Yeah.
is the fact that our boys are not behaving really manly no more. It's really, really sad. So the manly beat, they were saying things like they are so laid back, they don't care, they don't know how to treat their girls, and they think they are the price, even that they are too much, all these things. And the girls were saying is what monkey see that monkey do. So I'm thinking this is very, very serious. Um, but how about we go on the break and then we'll come really shortly back. Let's
Great.
do that.
Because I was going to talk about the DNA, etc.
Yeah. Welcome back on the show. Yes. So I'm sorry, particularly the focus is on the boys. What are the temperament or some sort of behavioral traits that they pick up, not from their mother, from their father, from the fathers? What are the fathers doing? I give you an instance. Are the fathers going out and do some sort of gardening so that to get their hands dirty so we can have boys that are manly? Especially African boys. Let us be clear about it. What our Africans, what are they doing? Are they too educated to just I don't know.
Okay. I guess on that note, I think there are a lot of things that we can say. And there are two ways to look at this. We can look at it from the biological side in terms
Mhm.
of the biological inheritance in terms of DNA, right? And of
Mm,
course, we know that each parent, contributes. And here I'm talking about biological parents,
mhm.
a set of the
The J.
23 chromosomes
Mm,
that define each one of us, and that's why we're individuals. But that
mm,
in terms of behaviors, I
mm,
think this is about exposure. This is about the interactions within the setting that the child finds themselves within. So for me, we need to just, I think today we want to talk more about the social behaviors rather than the biological or genetic
no.
inherited, genes inherited from either parents. But we know
Social
that the Y
and
chromosome
moral.
from the Y chromosome from the father and the X from the mother, and that would determine the biological sex of each of the children. Because mothers are
Mhm.
XX and fathers are XY. So I mean that's basic biology,
That's
literally.
right.
However,
Mm,
let's look at the social traits. You talked about going out to do gardening. I think that's something that, depending on what goes on in the family, like sports. Do you people participate in sports? Do you people go to church? Do you people go to community events? Those are social traits that kids will pick up within the unit. So if parents don't do gardening, the chances of their children taking on gardening will be limited. However, if those children from a very young age are exposed to gardening, the chances are they'll enjoy gardening, they'll understand plants, and most often than not, as they become young adults, they'll want to engage in such activities. So it's about when you introduce a child to something as well. Very early is always better.
I observe that, like, it's good what you said about community, about church. Community is good, church is good, but we need to do some real practical stuff with our kids, especially the boys. With the women, we do practical things. We get them to do cooking with us, and that's why some boys now, they call them mommy's boys, because what they do mostly is mommy's things. So what the focus of our things, our talk today, is to shift our men to be very conscious and intentional in the way they raise the kids up. Sometimes even the sport, it's the women that will take their kids to the sport for sports. The women take their kids for sport. What are the guys? I know the guys are saying they're looking for money to do this, to do that, but you don't look for money at the expense of your children. At the end of the day, the money becomes nothing if these children are. I was thinking of emotional as well, emotional stability. Be kind, be generous, uh, towards the kids, towards their mother. The mother is cooking, are you making them a cup of tea? And this is African family. Don't just say I'm listening to the news or I'm watching a program when your wife is cooking and cleaning, and your boy sees you. Now the boys want to sit back in this century, wanting their girlfriend or their wife to do the same, which is never going to work. It's never worked for your parents either. It didn't work for us. We didn't take it. So, but then they don't see us argue. They don't see us fight. So they don't think some of the times we don't accept it. They thought my mother is accepting it. My wife needs to accept it. Yeah. Because they don't see us talk about this. So, but for me, I talk about it. But I know most people, they say, oh, when you talk about it, then you're disrespectful to their father and you don't want them to see that you fight. We're not fighting, we're discussing.
Yeah.
But this thing I'm telling you, I don't know if it's foreign to you. Um, in African homes, that the men, they are two men, they are too manly to be not manly. I don't know how to say.
Okay. I think you've raised a few interesting points there. And first, I'm going to put it out there wherever you're watching in the world. I have a mixed family. Okay. But I am very embedded across all the different cultures as well. So I think I can speak with some level of authority as well. But I think just taking us back to the to humans and as parents, I think whether you're a father or a mother, there is a certain level of responsibility that we each have.
Mhm.
And there are also what we call the gender roles that have been assigned to males and to females across cultures in different ways. Unfortunately, lots of those gender roles, women have borne most of the burden over the centuries and over millennia. That continues today. But we're also in an era where women are also expected to contribute to the family income, to contribute to other responsibilities. That said, there are also still cultures where whether the woman works or she doesn't, her money is her money. And whatever she does with it, nobody asks a question. But if
Mhm.
you're in a situation where there's an expectation that she needs to, contribute financially to the home, and yet she has to also carry on and carry out all the gender roles in terms of cleaning, in terms of cooking, raising the children, and in a place like Australia, often without help. If
Mhm.
and that sometimes is by choice. And I encourage women, please, if you work, try to get somebody come in and do the thorough cleaning for you at least once a week. If it's too difficult, maybe at least one a fortnight to do the details. So you always have, not perfect, but a very good environment. You can do
Mhm.
it. If you work, you should be able to afford that. That said, I think as a parent and as fathers, they have to be present especially in the lives of their sons.
Mm-hmm.
And that is literally because there are certain things that each parent brings
Mm.
when it comes to shaping the lives of the children. But
Mm-hmm.
also, there are parents that it's worth them not having anything to do with children. I must say that as well. And I've seen that in so many ways. I've experienced it, etc. So we just need to, the way we phrase this and the way we kind is, we're going to be more generalistic in what is expected of parents as a father for your sons. Join them at sports, join them in at school. It's good to be a provider, but at the same time, you really need to think about the other things. I think people who know me know that whatever I do, I try to be present when it comes to the children, when it comes to their sports, etc. Why? Because your physical presence, they say something about the children, but also about the family and the communities as well. These are facts, and it's really important that we think about the impact of the children when other parents are there and you never show up. You must
Yeah.
show up. And if you're not going to be present, let the others know so that if they don't see you, they know that it's not because this is not important. And let the children know, let them participate in a lot of what you do. But I think if you want to talk about outdoor activities, gardening, those basics, we need to engage the children right from the outset. And we need to take them to those outdoor events. We need to attend the flower festivals. We need to be part of the community garden if you can. But there are lots of things. You don't have to do everything, but at least pick one or two things that you can engage yourself with and your family and your children. My
Exactly.
girls, for people who know my girls, they always did little athletics and they did sports. The younger son does football. So in one way or the other, for us, that has been an opportunity maybe to spend time. It takes a lot of time. It's not just going to pay the registration and then move away. It is the actual time commitment from the parents because the child is already there showing up and doing the activity sometimes in the rain. So you as the parent, you need to stand by the sidelines sometimes when it's rainy, if it's footy. If it's little electives, you sit under the sun because it's a summer activity. So those are some of the sacrifices that we have to make. In terms of cooking, it's really interesting because I got home this evening and the daughter was preparing dinner, and I could
Your
hear,
daughter? Your
yeah,
daughter? Okay.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, the middle daughter is at home,
Yeah.
yeah, and she's preparing dinner. And the junior brother was there, and I could hear them bickering in terms of what she wants him to do. And that has really been good. And then they came to me and say, "Oh, has he done this before?" I said, "Of course he has done it before." Why? Because years ago, my girls made it very clear to me my son has to be taught how to cook just as I taught them how to cook as well. And that is
Yes.
because they want him to have that balance. And I recall very vividly, I don't know whether it was the older daughter or the middle one who said it is a life skill that he must have. And I thank
Yes.
them for that because he is good and with the basics, all right, he can
Mm.
survive. I take responsibility of the kitchen. The others, the two girls can help, but it's really interesting to see Mikey as well, stepping up in that direction. So I think not that I'm perfect or that we have whatever, but there are
I
efforts
do
being
the
made.
same. I do the same in my home. My son is actually a better cook than any of my girls. He's really good. So I had to tell him again, even that calm down, don't be too good. That your wife will cook for you and you think yours is better. Don't do that. Like,
No,
yeah.
it's good.
Thank you for that. I do that. But and one thing that does is it also bind them together. It's bonding.
Absolutely.
They have good relationship, and so now they have history for the future that they're going to talk about. It's a beautiful legacy. People don't know.
Yeah.
When you talk about outdoor, let's even talk about church or wherever they go or mosque. As a man, you need to show up and let your children know whoever your God is, you honor that God. Do that well. And I also want to solicit for volunteering and for community engagement. I think our ladies are doing all sorts of community engagement. We go to Red Cross, we go to breast cancer, somewhere, everywhere. But I think our men are not doing as much. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. If your children, your boys don't see you do that, how are they going to go out as well and want to volunteer and want to, as support and engage in community responsiveness? I really want to solicit for the men to think outside of going to the office or going to work, bring money, eat, sleep, done. Go to church, end of it. No. Find out what it is in your community that is happening. Let your children know that you're responsible and you are committed to something apart from generating fund that the children can even generate from 16 years themselves. They don't need your money. So at the end of the day, what I observe is the children will grow up now and the father will be talking to them. What are you doing? You're not doing this, but you never taught them. They never see you do it. Now you're talking at them, and then there's friction in the home. And then you see some 17-year-old has moved out of home. This is very foreign. It hasn't been happening to us, but now it's happening. 18 years move home, 19 years they're gone. They have no home. It's not that they bought their house or whatever. They might be working at fast food. It's not enough money to rent a house. Or where are they going to go? But they just move anyway because the house is very painful, because you have never taught them. They grow up overnight. You want to be talking to them like man to man. You never showed them that you were a man. So one of the things that I heard last week was
Mm.
how um the girls, there was a girl anyway that was going to put a painting on that was put hanging a painting on the wall. The husband bought a second painting, and the husband was asking for an handyman to put the painting up. But the wife just did it last week. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you have a boy looking at you there, saw that mom just hang that up, and my daddy is silly. The boy is looking at you. What is he going to do tomorrow? I mean, it could go both ways. It could go both ways, but who knows which way the boy is going to turn to. This is the kind of thing we're talking about.
And this is where we talk about the life skills.
Mm,
Certain cooking is a life skill.
yeah.
Doing basic things in your own home, these are life skills. And yes, lots of the people might be listening and in their 40s, 50s, 60s, most of them not, they did not grow up in the world that we have today. There are certain expectations. They grew up in a world where the man was the provider and the woman was a home taker.
Mm,
However, we know that in the last two generations or so, presence of women in the workforce has increased and continues to be so. Hence, there has to be certain balances in place and there has to be a shift as well. Regardless, when you think about, for example, sons, because I don't also want to put the pressure or say it is men only. Mothers, us, we have these children, we have the sons for at least the first 10 years of their lives. Most of them not there around our feet. They are with us at events, community, church, social gatherings. In my situation, professional meetings, and God knows, my 15-year-old, when he was 4, and Joseph, he turned 15 only a few months ago, but until recently, he comes to me with me to uni. So
I
if
know.
it's school holidays that I'm busy, he comes to me on campus. And the other day, I saw him spending some time at the anatomy lab with other colleagues, and they went through stuff. The girls used to come with me, and they go and participate at in after school activities at the universities as well. When I was at the other university, so for me, I've had to do my best to do that, to have that exposure with them from my perspective. But their father has also been able to, engage with them in different ways, and we do different things. And it's really interesting who asks who for what. The things that the children will come to me for, and the things that will go to him for, they're very different. Why? Because I don't know. Nobody ever said this is your role or this is your role. but I've just observed that with certain things. And I'm like, but you were home. Why is you coming to me for this when you were there with your other parent? It's like, yeah, but
Mm,
you are the person who does it. But there are also times
that's
they
right.
are with me and they go to the other parent as well. So I
Mm,
just think it's about striking that balance, but really being present. And I hear, for example, for the males, for the fathers, the role shift, and in our context within Australia, which is not going to be dissimilar to the US and the UK, has meant sometimes men have felt and become overwhelmed in terms of what they are supposed to do and in terms of what they are supposed to take on. And when you've not learned that and you've not observed that in the past, it can be difficult. That said, that's no excuse that you should not be hands on with your children. The most important thing is be a hands on parent in one way or the other.
yeah. It's good you said that, for the first 10 years of their lives, they mostly be with us, which is true. And that's where my one of my advice, I mean, the advice I want to give tonight is that the women should be very mindful that our kids, they observe and they are like sponge. They take those things. Even when you're doing things for them that they know is not right, they might not talk to you. And so, as a mother, maybe you're more sensitive to see the behavior change or personality change of your children and how they're reacting or responding to, the other party. So try and help your husbands. That's why we're helpmates. I help my husband wherever I see that he might want to drop the ball. I'll remind him, honey, they're looking at you. We need to do something different. You have to do this. So try and advise your and help your husband. If he doesn't listen to you today, don't be quiet. Try again nicely tomorrow. Find a way to present it to him, not in terms of fighting, but to let him honestly know that you might even have an example around you, because we do have examples around us. And the kids talk amongst themselves. Funny enough, this whole Australia is like one village. They say the same thing.
Yeah.
They talk I hear them talk from Canberra. They say what they are here in Perth. I'm like, what? Do you know yourselves? So they say things. We need to be very mindful to listen to them. They are very smart and they know what they're talking about. Don't say they're 13 years, they're silly. They are not silly.
They know.
Very intelligent kids, and I really respect those children. Really, what they know blows my mind. So what I'm saying is, women, listen. If your husband doesn't hear, if you're the one that listens, then please help your husband to be more mindful and to listen to these children, so that we can have a responsible future generations. And it's quite unfair on these children if we're going to treat them like this, talk at them, no listen to them, and then they grow up, you say they are wayward, whatever. We need to be more attentive. That's what I want to plead. Please help
So,
these children
yeah.
and help your husband if you can.
So on that note as well, I guess we also want to be very mindful that the women in particular have also taken on a lot. And I'm going to use this phrase, and please don't come at me when I use this phrase, because there are many, many unmarried married women out there in
Yes.
our community.
That's our next topic.
They unmarried married women,
Mm.
and literally the partners are there in name and when they are doing some sort of a show or some event. And for the women as well, if you want to tie yourself in those situationships, then you have to also ask yourself a lot of questions.
What are you
When you
doing?
come to an agreement that you live together but you're separated, again, that's a discussion that you have with each
Yeah.
other, etc., and openly and let your children know, etc., etc. Because as
Yeah.
a result of that, then everybody understands why things are in particular ways. I think that's a
Yes.
conversation for another day, but I
Conversation.
think we need to think about those pressures as well.
Wow. I can't believe you went there. That's another topic. We discussed this topic before, but we're bringing it back because I don't know about you. I see these children and my heart break. My heart so breaks for them. Really, I think it's so unfair. What we're doing as parents to these children is so unfair, and the consequence of it is not really good. But we're going to have to end the show today because our time is up, but I believe that you understand what we're trying to say, to be present in the children's life, to be mindful of their situation, and don't judge them. Don't judge them when they're 23, 25, 30 years old because you have done them more harm than good. So you too are part of the issue. But let's bygone be bygone. We're saying going forward, what can we do going forward? Because
Absolutely.
we're learning forward, right? We're learning forward. Nobody is a
Absolutely.
of everything, but whatever we know, we come here to share with you. So hope you've learned one or two things and you're going to be able to apply that in your own situation. And we're going to have to
Uh,
say goodbye. Go ahead and give final say.
okay, thank you. I wanted to add that children also have responsibilities because I
Mm,
think a lot of them also enjoy a lot of the freedoms, but they don't want the responsibilities that come with it. And
mm,
that is particularly difficult for kids who arrive in Australia after the age of 10 or those pre-teenage years because they've missed out on that early education. So I
mhm.
think a type of a holistic approach here is absolutely essential. So it's not about the father alone or the mothers or the children. It is a type of
It's
a
true.
holistic approach. Being
That's very
mindful that we're
mm,
living in Australia, it is it's a completely different setting, and you
mm.
cannot expect certain things that you did in your home country because the world exposures are different, and we are shaped by our exposures and our worldview. Thank you.
That's true. That's very true. We're going to have to end it. Thank you for saying that. It's true. They do have their responsibility as well. We're going to say, I'll talk more on that next week, but we're going to say goodbye for now. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Tata for now. Bye.